Welcome to BBC News at 10. Our top story today is of a recent murder in Chorlton, Hampshire.
Hello, this is KOB4 News. The breaking news today is the horrific murder of a man butchered in Socorro.
Douglas Whitted was found dead in a wheat field earlier today.
Felix Luter was found in a field of wheat in a scene investigators are describing as gruesome.
Time of death is placed at 7 a.m. today.
Felix is believed to have died today at 1 a.m.
Little is known about the case, but one fact law enforcement are calling interesting is the lack of destroyed
wheat that would be caused by making his way through the field,
creating a path.
An eyewitness
Of the scene described the wheat as being
burned in a circular pattern.
She declines to comment further on the matter.
And he has not replied to our further inquiries.
In 1947, the American Air Force opened up a top-secret project in the interest of national security. Project Blue Book. A program of surveillance in which the Air Force observed and analyzed UFOs. On the 17th of December, 1969, this project was supposedly shut down. It was revealed by one Lieutenant Colonel H.A. McClanahan that during this time period, over 12,618 sightings of suspicious aircraft was discovered, with over 701 of them being confirmed UFOs. The existence of Project Blue Book quickly escaped public consciousness as new and more interesting conspiracies came to light.
Well, I'm not a crook. I've earned everything I've got.
What few people realized is this wasn't the end. Strange, unexplained phenomena came to light. Phenomena which gripped the world but quickly left the public consciousness once the media cycle got bored. This is the story of a rural village in the south of the UK named Chawton and a town in the south of the US named Socorro, New Mexico. The story of a single month in the 90s in which these two towns became linked in ways they would have never imagined.
911, what's your emergency?
Yes, it's a weird circle up in the sky. It's a round full circle and it's dark in the middle. This has never happened in
The year is 1993. Two people on opposite sides of the world, blissfully unaware of each other for their entire lives, died in the exact same way, at the exact same time, in a scene that is the exact same in both countries. At first, the local news ran the story like any other. Sensationalized. They thought that would be the end of it until a killer was found. When by some sheer, unimaginable twist of fate, a resident of Chawton went to visit distant relatives in Socorro the day after, that's when the truth about this strange coincidence was discovered. Due to COVID restraints, this next interview has been conducted by email.
So, we get a call from a resident that was abroad. I hear snapping fingers coming from the front desk, trying to get our attention. When she had our attention, she puts the phone on the table and turns it on speaker.
Chawton Police Station, Hampshire. What's your emergency?
I'm abroad right now, and I'm reading the news. Apparently there's been a murder, exactly like the one I read in the Chawton local news.
The news became international?
No. It's happened here too.
Say again?
The murders happened here too. Exact same way. Only this one happened at 1 a.m. So 7 a.m.
At the time, nobody realised about the time difference. It was only a couple of hours later, during my break, that I thought to check. They both happened at the exact same time.
Officer Lloyd moved in quickly, alerting the lead detective on the case in Chawton and alerting the sheriff's office in Socorro. Soon after, the FBI dispatched agents to the scene. Once FBI were dispatched, the closest English equivalent moved in, known informally as the Spooks, or to give it its proper name, MI5.
At this point, it became a joint effort. Instead of 2 murders, we looked at it as one. None of the facts added up.
The FBI concluded they were hunting 2 serial killers. Unsure of how they got the victims into the middle of the field without making a path, they asked for help from the retired FBI agent, Clinton Conway. Conway specialized in the unexplained. In the 1950s, he was the partner of Agent Guy Hotel, the investigator of the 1950s March UFO incident.
This report you've sent me is wrong. Serial killers rarely work together, and when they do, it's in tandem with the same victim, never on separate parts of the world. Look up Dr. Maldonado at the NRAO.
Dr. Maldonado was a scientist who worked at the National Radio Astronomy Observatory in Socorro. The only reason to be sent there is that Conway must have made a connection that hadn't crossed the minds of the lead investigators. This connection was later revealed to a co-worker of Maldonado via email.
They came to me and asked if I had been near the farm in Socorro recently. I said no, of course, but they didn't believe me. I asked what this was about, and they told me there had been some kind of murder. They explained the crime scene in detail, which was puzzling to say the least.
The crime scene in both countries were like mirror images, both found in wheat fields. Both had no path leading to the bodies, meaning no one had walked through, and both had circles burned into them with a radius of 25 feet. The investigators first expected this to be a form of arson to hide the evidence, but this theory was thrown out soon after.
I asked why they came to me, and they mentioned Conway. I told them that Conway was a good friend of mine, and I knew why they were probably sent to me.
What he revealed to them shocked and confused the FBI agents.
I showed them a radar image, an unidentified flying object.
The FBI investigators contacted the investigators at MI5, and upon correspondence with Aldershot Observatory, it was revealed that this was also spotted just 25 minutes from Chawton. It was a coincidence too big to ignore, but too strange to humor. They awaited the autopsy report to shed some light on the deaths.
This is Dr. Bertowski, lead examiner on this autopsy. I've already made a start on draining the blood, but no blood seems to be draining, implying a clot could be stopping the blood flow somewhere. There doesn't appear to be any external markings, no bruises, no wounds, nothing out of the ordinary. I will now try to locate the clot to see if that could be the cause of death, or if it could have occurred post-mortem. To do this, I will again attempt to drain the blood with a venipuncture, this time from the arms. That's odd. I can't seem to drain any from the left arm. I'll now try the right arm. That's... oh my god.
What Dr. Bartovsky discovered was unsettling, and matched the findings of the doctor that performed the autopsy on the other victim. Both victims had no puncture wounds, no signs of penetration of any type, and no traces of blood. They were completely drained. The autopsy was meant to provide answers, but all it did was create questions.
How are we doing this?
You're recording?
Yes.
Is that wise?
Wise? No. Policy? Yes.
Policy doesn't have much of a place within this case.
But I suppose it does.
Unsolved.
What?
You asked how we're doing this? We should put it as unsolved.
Even though we...
Yes.
God help us.
I don't think God has a place in this case either. Not after what we saw.
No. I don't suppose he does.
Despite the cryptic calls between the MI5 and the FBI implying they solved the case, their reports suggested otherwise.
Working together with my British partner,
In correspondence by men without part,
I must come to the conclusion
that although the situation seems somewhat extraordinary,
this case is not the work of a serial killer.
and as such, the case can safely be closed and shall remain unsolved.
The case will be considered unexplained.
Now, the case is forgotten, lost to the depths of time. The news cycle ran on, as it does, and the only time it's mentioned again is once.
Time of death was estimated at 2:30 p.m. Same day, only 3 hours earlier than the Simmons murder.
That's Pacific Standard Time. That makes it the exact same moment.
As is usual, the facts are forever lost, and all that remains is pop culture. Except not entirely. Some of this presentation was factual, yes. Official documents were used, research was done, and the facts were compiled. Yet, a lot of it was mere fabrication. Technology has gotten to the point where, with a click of a button, you can get an AI to make someone look like someone else, copy a voice, or adjust the lips on footage of people to fit with a sound recording. All this lip syncing was done by a student in a bedroom on his PC. In fact, it didn't even take that much processing power. He was able to play Grand Theft Auto whilst it was being done. Granted, he probably shouldn't have done that. It would have come out much better if he didn't. But you have to ask yourself this one question. Can you imagine the harm this technology could do if it was used with a world leader? If a malicious party used this technology during election season to twist narratives and views? This technology is constantly evolving. It's getting better to the point where it can be done on a laptop, and if your PC is good enough, it can be made undetectable. Personally, I think that's horrifying, because if there's one thing that people want, it's that they want to believe.